Hello again, and welcome to FinEst Center for Smart Cities. And I'm today very glad to introduce a new member of our team, actually already working for half a year with us, Lita Akemntina. And we will work, as Lita works as a cities expert in our team, then naturally we would ask from the very beginning that what's the work of this position? How would you actually describe it? What are you doing in this position?
Well, this is a very interesting question, of course, because cities expert can mean many things. I see it as someone who is actually working to expand the collaborations with European cities from the FinEst Center side, and also someone who is supporting cities in a way in tackling their complex challenges at the moment. In more practice, it really means that I'm involved in one really big project, which is called NetZeroCities. And through this project, me and the rest of the team is trying to support European cities on their way towards climate neutrality.
Okay, so there are over 100 cities actually involved in this initiative of NetZeroCities. Well, what are the key elements you would describe for the city to become climate neutral?
Yes, I mean, there are 112 mission cities and even more cities joining pretty much every year, every month. Key elements is a little bit of a complex and difficult thing to answer. So there's not a definite set of things, but over the last few months working together with cities and communicating with them and trying to support them, it is clear that really good and smart governance is really the key for a long-term transition to climate neutrality. More specifically, we can see that if the city has really committed to the objectives and on all levels, like from the decision making to really the people who are implementing the initiatives, then the projects and the initiatives, of course, move forward in a more smoothly. Also, it's important to have a leadership and strategic outlook on climate neutrality. Openness to new forms of collaborations and also new forms of working within the municipality, because this is not really something that you can tackle with our usual way of work. And also capacity building within the cities themselves. Are we training our staff? Are we providing them with the knowledge that is needed to really be able to follow through with these activities?
Yeah. Well, maybe you can tell us what's the kind of classic or most common question that cities ask from you?
Well, just to give the context, I've mostly been involved in discussions related to citizen engagement, stakeholder engagement, behavioral change, and also data management and so on. So in these conversations, it's quite often this cities are working, and then they still feel like that the result is maybe not so evident. And for the citizen engagement is always, what can we do to get more people engaged? And by engagement, I mean not just participate in some workshops and so on, but also contribute to these kind of activities that lead to climate neutrality, because behavioral change is part of everyday's life.
Right. But you told about the collaboration and the importance of it in all of these developments. What strategies can actually cities implement in this context to encourage such kind of collaboration effectively?
Yes, collaboration is a really crucial aspect, and we see that, because this is such a multifaceted and complex challenge, cities have to work across sectors and also across governance levels. So we see the collaboration is needed between academia, private sector, companies, national actors, also non-governmental sector and citizens themselves. And what we really suggest to cities is really start with some basic steps, like do some stakeholder mapping, understand whom you actually need to involve to achieve your objectives, and then start building these relationships, either with the private sector, doesn't matter with whom, but finding the right collaboration format can only happen in negotiations and in dialogue. The next steps, of course, that we see that some cities have been more already advanced in these aspects. They start creating new governance structures or mechanisms for ongoing collaborations. These can be like communities of practice, or what we also know innovation labs or living lab approaches, which really does give this already a platform for these collaborations and can result in really innovative solutions.
Well, are there any good examples from the cities that have already made some progress, and what are the main lessons actually from there?
Well, as we know though, we have 112 mission cities. Now we also have 25 pilot actions that are span across 53 cities. Quite few of the pilot cities really have done already tremendous amount of work. You know, we could mention maybe German cities and others that have already been quite systematically working towards this. And what we really see that more successful ones are those that look at these issues in a more systematic way. So they don't focus on separate projects, but they really are trying to have this more comprehensive approach to this climate neutrality. And also that they are like having this openness and flexibility to doing things differently. You know, they're really trying to be creative, trying to engage with people. So in a way, I would be repeating the things that I already said. The practices for these more successful cities, we see that are more open and more, collaborative. In the terms of topics, there are, of course, the dominant ones, so also those that we work here at the FinEst Center. So built environment and really building renovation is one of the key aspects. Then, of course, transport and mobility in general, and also the mobility behavior of people. Then working with different energy systems and introducing alternative energy sources, so that's more your topic.
A bit.
Yeah, and maybe less so, but some cities are also attacking like this industrial sector, so really how we produce things and so on. But yeah, but these kind of main topics that we see are emerging from cities, and then they are, if they are addressed in a more systematic way and collaboratively, then we see better results.
Okay, but what would be your suggestion to these cities that would like to, say, become part of such kind of process and or to become more climate neutral? What they should actually start with?
I think this is more of a universal suggestion for cities, let's put it that way. So I have two things off the top of my head. So one is just to be like an active participant, and try to pursue different opportunities that are out there. And the second is really do some basic groundwork, some homework that to be able to engage. So first of all, at the moment we have so many different initiatives. So we can talk about our Smart Cities Challenge, which is a unique opportunity for cities to just submit their challenges and potentially get a ready-made smart city solution. And this can also be related to climate action. From NetZeroCities perspective, of course, a lot of activities are oriented towards mission cities, but we also have programs that any city can really engage with, like the Twinning Learning program, when cities can sign up to be paired with the already ongoing pilots and have these city-to-city exchanges and learn from each other. To do that, oftentimes you do need to do some basic initial work. Sure. So for NetZeroCities, the typical requirement is that you have formalized some kind of climate commitment, for climate action. So either it would be within their strategies or on some kind of signing some kind of international document and so on. They do need to probably have a critical view at whether they actually are aiming at climate neutrality at the moment and whether they need to maybe promote it a little bit more in their work. But also if you want to apply for the Smart Cities Challenge, well, it would be probably good to have a look at what are your city problems, come together with your departments, discuss what could be the interesting thing that you could apply for us, for the FinEst Center opportunities, and and then go from there. Because if you don't start doing something, nothing will happen in a way.
Great. And very fascinating, all of these details that you are doing and dealing with in everyday's work. They make a bit better place for each of the cities that you are engaged with. And I'm very glad that you have joined the team and strengthened it very much. And thank you for this interview.
Thank you, Einar. It was my pleasure.